Let's go on one of our trips. This is probably one of the hardest trips that we've ever completed. We've done it several times. It's up in far north Queensland, Cape York, between Usher Point and Captain Billy's Landing. We call it the beach run.
Kilometres from the turn off of the Bamaga Road to Usher Point. Only the last 6 kilometres now is 4-wheel drive. The rest of the road has been graded by the islanders.
Yeah, Keith would have had a bit of fun through here.
Maybe no, he wouldn't have a long wheelbase, he'd have a narrow wheelbase.
Yeah, she would have been tight with that trailer, wouldn't it?
Okay, we're back on the Usher Point Road. The track we've just come off takes you down to Henderson Creek. It's around about 26 kilometres off the Usher Point Road to Henderson Creek, to the beach. And that trip will take about 2.5 hours. If you've got a boat up on the roof or a high roof rack, it'll take a lot longer. The track's only used probably by about a minimum of 10 to 12 cars a year down there, because no one's heard about it until we actually opened it up. And if you go down there, you'll get your water out of the Satch Waterhole, the big dam, the big lake on the right-hand side. It's full of crocs also, and there's good fishing on that. After that, you'll either camp underneath the rainforest canopy just before the beach, and if it's not windy, you can camp on the beach proper. Now, from the Henderson Creek turn-off on the Usher Point Road to Usher Point, it's only about 6.5 kilometres down to the beach. There's a steep drop down to the beach, and you have to go to 4-wheel drive before you go into it. And the left only takes up a few hundred yards. You can't go any further. To the right, you can go down to the Logan Jack Creek. To get around that, you have to wait for the lowest tides to do it, because you have to go around rocks and deep creek crossings. To cross the Logan Jack, you have to wait until the tide is dead low, and then you'll drive through around about knee-deep water or a little less on the lowest tide. We usually camp just the south side underneath the coconut palms, or halfway down the beach to the next little creek, and in behind the dunes. Before you go down there, you have to take the water from the small springs that come out of the rocks about halfway down the beach to the Logan Jack River. It takes us a little time to fill those containers, because it's only light drops and small springs. If you're planning to do the Orford Bay run, you have to get the lowest tides. We'll be crossing it in a few days' time on about a 6-4 tide. And after that, there's still a lot of hard work, and you still have to work by the tides.
Remember, before you hit the beach, let your tyres down to 15 pounds. When driving through thick scrub, it's a good idea to keep your windows up. Not only it stops the sticks from hitting you in the face, but it stops unwanted visitors, as you'll see shortly.
She has got the most prickliest feet. You feel that, Bob? Better walk on your hand. You feel how prickly. Aren't they prickly? I wanted to give it back.
No, only because I didn't have another hand.
No, thank you. Irish? No, thank you. Have a feel.
Hello, sir. Come and grab this. Fascinating.
Bad on the spine. You feel its feet.
For the next 65 kilometres, the cars will be driving on 15 pounds pressure, even though the surface conditions will change 100 times from rocks to sand. There's no time to stop and pump your tyres up for the rock crossings, as you're continuously fighting the tides. When we drive along the sandy sections, we leave our vehicles in 2-wheel drive. As long as your tyres are down, the cars will handle the sand alright. By leaving the vehicle in four-wheel drive, over a long period there's a lot of stress to the transfer case, gearbox, motor and diffs. When the car starts to slow down or start to bog down, it's easy just to slip the handle into four-wheel drive and away you go.
That's the best we've ever seen us, Dan.
Yeah, look at it.
We'll have to winch it out.
All of the vehicle's radiators are covered with canvas, and the petrol cars, the distributors have been covered with grease and Celastic. We've also loosened all the fan belts on all the cars.
This Logan Jack River would have to be one of the prettiest rivers on the east coast of Cape York. Just coming up to us here is a big sand hill. It's about 130, 140 foot high, and it drops straight down into the Logan Jack River. The other rivers we travel in are only mangrove lined and rocks, but this one here seems to have more sand and sand dunes than any of the others that we've travelled in so far. Look at the colour of that sand. Fresh water. So this is where the Logan Jack River actually starts from. Swamp, trickling water into a bit of a deep pond in front of us, and then starts heading out to sea as a log and stump riddled freshwater stream and widens up as it goes. And then we come into the mangroves, down further into the paper bark and into the main river. The start of the Logan Jack is approximately 9 kilometres from the ocean. Small crayfish. You hit that hard. The way you hit, I thought it would have been a big one. That's the results of 15 minutes of fishing at the mouth of the Logan Jack River.
Whoa.
There's enough there to feed our group. We didn't catch any more. We caught enough. That's it.
What, Bob?
Yeah, mate.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, what are you going to fill them all? Fill them all?
Yeah. We're about 2 kilometres south of the Logan Jack, at what we call the Unnamed Creek. 3 years ago we were here, and there was a Toyota Land Cruiser bogged. There wasn't any people around, but the strange thing is, the marks where the Toyota was bogged are still here, 3 years later.
Yeah, you can see why people don't come here, you know. You just can't carry the fuel here. I reckon the last time someone was here would probably be 3-4 months ago. Okay, we're off, boys. I'll make a break for it.
longwall. Yes, Bob. Yeah, just checking to make sure you're on channel, mate. It's very important we keep radio touch all the way over this crossing.
We've got water coming inside the car.
We left Logan Jack this morning around about 9:30 and drove about 2 kilometres along the beach just to wait another hour so we can get the right tide to do the crossing over Orford Bay. The first leg now is on the way. We've just crossed the deepest of the 2 creeks that we have to cross. The rest will be shallow creeks and soft sand and a bit of mangrove mud, and we've got about 9 to 10 kilometres to go to Orford Bay and Orford Ness, the main southern entrance.
Still hard all the way through here so far. Small creek crossing coming up.
Where the old car is that was lost a few years ago.
Oh, Jesus. That's all we want is 2 days in Cairns to enjoy the shopping and the civilisation which we have missed for nearly 2 weeks. And to buy parachutes and a bag and clothes and to pig out. Did you come back?
We're made halfway across Orford Bay from the main crossing down south. Looks like probably the hardest thing in front of us. Deep drop off about 200 yards in front of us towards our exit, and then mud and swamp before we get to the hard sand, and that's the dangerous part, and after that it's all easy going. About 20 minutes. It's time now to make it go, but there's still half hour of the run out tide in front of us. So I think it's time to make a run, and I'll make the run. The rest to follow.
How's it going, Jeffrey?
No problem. You just went over the top of my wheel stand.
Okay, mate. Just going to take it nice and slow so none of that water gets into the alternator. Think there might be some fresh water in this, Bob?
I reckon it should be all salt there, mate, so far.
I think so.
When we came through, there was a big school of mullah heading out to sea.
Yeah, we're underwater now. There's water pouring inside the cabin.
Yeah, you're over your wheel.
I might have picked a deeper spot. I can see Paul in behind me on the mirror.
I've got a good eye on him.
We're halfway across Orford Bay. We've still got about 15, 20 minutes to kill, so we're going to have a look at the old Land Cruiser ute that's laying over here in the mud. And by that time we have a look at that and get a bit of a shot of that and a few photographs, it's time to finish the journey off over to Orford.
We drive as close as we can to the water's edge on low tide because that's where the hardest sand is. If we had any mechanical troubles or bogged the vehicles where they are now, we would only have a few hours to get them out. About 40 kilometres south of this wreck, there's another wreck. A short wheelbase Land Cruiser tried to make a short creek crossing. It got bogged and the owners couldn't get it out, and the car was just left there. 2 years later, we went back to have a look at the wreck, but the sands had completely covered the car, and all that was left were the top of the roof racks.
Check the tyres. Select four-wheel drive only. Come out slowly.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is spare. We can take that back to Newbern Saddle and Paint. We got rid of that gear.
You turn the lights off?
Okay, we'll give it a go now. The tide's not down as low. We'll give it a go now. The tide's not down as low as what we would like it to be, but we'll make a break for it and see how we go.
Next. here, Bob, where what you're just heading towards the Jabberoo, you've got to turn to your left and go up where the tree is.
Yeah, I'll get up there soon, and then I'll spin around and have my winch cable ready in case someone gets caught in the mud.
Okay.
Another quick crossing coming up.
We've got some sharks ducking in around us up here, Bob.
Full of sharks.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, mate. The tide's coming in. They're looking for fish to feed on.
Yeah, they've been swimming around the outside of the car. I can see that Jabberoo over on your right now.
Look,
Yeah, I saw a shark. Yeah, it's just on about 2.5 foot long. I'm heading out a little bit wider through another creek to get on the hard sand for this last crossing.
You can't go back that shot. Get into it. You have to get right up it here, Jeffrey, because the last 10 foot gets a little bit soft sometimes. Here we go. We're going to plan it.
We're turning it.
Way across.
So we can stay in Rod Meg's track.
Kids have been picking up hundreds of shells. Got them everywhere. Oh, look at that.
Oh, Mark, not been bottled, and it'd be about 80-year-old. Wedged in the rock there. For how many years, I would never know, but I'm trying to get it out without breaking it. There she is. March's soft drink. Soft drink. Applied top. The bottles after that had a screw, glass screw, but this one's had a cork in it. Probably come off some old shipwreck. Magic stuff.
5 kilometres short of Captain Billy's Landing. Once again, the tides beat us. We've had to camp on a little peninsula. We've got Cascade River on the right-hand side of us. We've got the ocean on the left-hand side. We just can't get around that point. Tomorrow morning, low tide will be around about 11 o'clock, and we'll reach Captain Billy's by then.
Walking through the mangrove swamp here, all this low-lying area floods in the wet season. Behind me, about 60, 70 feet of the mangroves. This mound here is a crocodile's nest. The whole area here is scattered with about 12 to 18 that we've counted so far of these crocodile mounds. Now this is where the crocodile will come in and nest in the wet season.
If you ever contemplate doing a journey like this, always remember to carry spare fuel. There's a second container we've put in here, and our vehicles are diesel. Well done. We've done the automatic, the regulator, the battery terminal. That's it.
Well, all the vehicles are packed. We're just waiting for the low tide, which is around about 11:30. We have to have the low tide to make one crossing around down to Captain Billy's, which is a cliff crossing, and we actually have to drive through salt water there anyway. So the vehicles are all sprayed, all our alternators are sprayed, battery leads, all electrics. And we'll drive into Captain Billy's, possibly shoot down and have a look at Captain Billy's Creek, and then on to the Double Mouth Creek. If the tides are starting to come in, we can't do that run. We'll have to wait another couple of days.
How's it looking in front of you, Bob?
Yeah, the sand's very hard, but you've still got a lot of those little salty creeks to come through. We're approaching the oyster rocks.
We'll take you to the country. If you survive, we'll bring you back. No air conditioned buses here. Off the track.
A lot easier this time, ain't it, Bob? Part of the whole journey. Constant race against the sea to get to Captain Billy's. There's always the risk of getting bogged on the soft sand. If you get bogged here, that's it, your journey's over. As well as the sand, we've got to get around the headlands, which are pretty treacherous, a lot of sharp rocks, and there's always a danger of losing tires. So it's a real test of the vehicles as well as the drivers, and now that we're all here, we're pretty happy about it. We're going to push off now to Cairns from here, so our journey's almost over. What we've got to get through from here on is going to be a lot easier, thank God. It's been a great journey and I've really enjoyed it. Thanks, thanks, Bob. We're in the tin shed at Captain Billy's Landing. Years ago when we arrived here, it was horrible. There was all artefacts laying all over the place that people have collected along the beach, walls, old canoes, But the National Parks and Wildlife have done a really nice job and they've cleaned it all up. It looks terrific now.
When all the stuff was hanging in here, behind me was a big 8-foot dugout canoe, and below it was a 4-foot dugout canoe in pretty good condition. Plus all the things that people have gathered to try and make this a sort of a Cape York type museum. We arrived here in National Parks and had a big fire out here and burned everything, even the dugout canoes. It goes to show you, even they don't even like preserving artefacts like that. Now the place is just a drab, dead shed.